In this video, I'm going to talk about CIS30A Lab 2 Exercise 7. Please note that number 2 through 6, you can check out the lecture part 1 for week 2 in CIS30. It gives you example that's closely related to the exercise. For number 7, we are to write the Python program that contains 3 variables: username, user age, and user address. Assign values to those variables and complete the following tasks. Use isalpha to check the username contain only alphabet. Use isdigit to check if the user age contains only number. Use isalnum to check if the user address contains alphanumeric values. And so we are to take screen capture of the program when we're done to be able to show that we completed the script and have the output in the screen capture. So for this program, I decided to use input method with each of the variable, and I also include if else statement to fully validate the user input. So to start, for username, I declare that as the variable, and I use input method and prompt the user to enter your name. So the user is asked to enter the name. Now note that when you test this, if you have white space, like a full name, first and last name, it will not check true. So next, after we declare the variable for the username and have the user input with the prompt to the user, we would then write our if else statement. If username dot is alpha, since we're using the is alpha, that's part of the requirement part A. Remember, we have to have a colon at the if statement, at the end of the if statement. Then we simply print what they have entered. You have entered, and then bring down the username as the second parameter for the print method. Else, we would then have the username equal input, re-enter your name. So if they don't input only alphabet, we would have them re-enter their name. Next, we would declare user age, and again we would ask the user to input and enter your age. Unlike the other programs, we don't parse this into integer because isdigit is a method that's only able to check for string. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to keep it as a string input and to check the content of the string if they are all digits. Then again, I would use an if statement to check for is user age is the digit. So if it's all digits, then if it's true, then it's going to print out what they have entered as age. Otherwise, else, if they don't input only numbers, it's going to go to else, and it's going to ask them to re-enter their age. And I simply bring down the variable here, have them re-input. And you can do it other ways. I just choose to do it like this so you can see it clearly, how each of these built-in methods is applied for input validation. Then next, I have user address. I have them input, enter their address. So I use the input method to ask them to enter their address. Then I use the if statement. If the user address is alnum, it's alphanumeric. And again, if we use white space, that's not going to check true. So they have to type it with no space so we can be clear with the instruction or the prompt if we want. Then we're going to go ahead and print you entered and then bring down the user address. Else, we would then have them reprompt to them to re-enter the address. So if they don't put in alphanumeric, if they put in only digits, or if they put in only alphabets, then it's going to reprompt them because it's going to not check true here. It's going to kick it over here. And then we're going to have them re-enter the address and store it in the user address. Then we can print thank you, or if you want, you can print out, their summary, such as username, and then you can have user address or user age, and then user address. You can also add in a string you entered, or we can say summary. And then when we rerun this instead of thank you, so we can check this. So if I check it as, if I put in 234, it's going to ask me to re-enter my name. So if I put in Casey, it's going to go to the next one. If I put in ABC, it's going to ask me to re-enter my age. Then I would put in 40. Then it would ask me to enter my address, 123 Main. Then it's going to give me, yes, I entered 123 Main, and the summary is KC40 123 Main, and then thank you. So this is a little bit more detailed than what the questions had asked you, but I wanted to show you how input validation can be implemented using these built-in methods. And that concludes my Lab 2 Exercise 7. You can hard code all of this in instead of having the user interact with the program, but it's much more fun if we know how to use our input method, like what we talked about last week, and how to implement this so that way we would have the user interact with the program and we can validate their input and making sure. But this is one way that we can use built-in methods to check user input.